Welcome back to the John Fourcade Show. And it's the Works deal right here at Veterans Ford. $39.95, all change. You get your tires checked, brake inspection, multi-point inspection, all across the board. It's the Works right here at Veterans Ford. $39.95. You won't find a better place than right here at Veterans Ford. Back here on the John Fourcade Show. John, LSU ended up real strong up against Texas A&M, and that game may have kind of vaulted Coach O into the head coaching position. It took two other guys to pull out, so to speak.
Right.
But again, LSU, a strong offensive performance against a bad Texas A&M defense. But man, listen, after losing the game the way they did against Florida, I give Coach O a lot of credit to get this team back emotionally ready. And what a game by Darius Geis, who now is the single game rushing mark. He holds it, not Leonard Fournette, at LSU. What a great game by Darius Geis. After, I know just how bad he felt after that Florida game.
Well, I mean, look at this. They came out this football game, and I was impressed with offensive-wise. I was unimpressed with A&M's defense. You'd think that they would Chivas as coach. They couldn't stop anybody. And A&M's offense is not very good. This is a great play right here, strip and fumble on the play. LSU came to play in this football game. And I grant what you're saying. Orgeron won this football game as a coach that probably led him to getting this position as the head coach down the road for LSU. Granted, two other guys backed out. But if he wouldn't have played, if this game would have been a loss to them, I don't think they'd have gone well.
No way. Also, too, you see the development of a couple young receivers in there. Russell Gage, who really looked good. DJ Chalk. Since Coach O and Ensminger took over, they've been a big part of the attack. Again, 285 yards rushing, a school record, and also 4 touchdowns. I think this was Danny Etling's best game. 324 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, but LSU 622 yards of total offense. Don't look like Chiefs defense is doing too good at A&M.
I agree that the defense, he's a great coach. There's no doubt what he did at Tennessee, what he did at LSU, and he did last season for. And they got some bad players on the defense.
He ain't got the
side.
horses
He don't
in the
have
bone.
the players. Eventually, he'll get them. But what I'm a little shocked at is I really wanted to see LSU's defense not give up the points they gave up because they kept talking about all year long. They only give up 11 touchdowns in 10 football games. And next thing you know, they get a lot of points and a lot of things happen in this ball. But then again, they were playing so far ahead.
No Arden Key, no Kendall Beckwood.
Right,
But
they had a lot of guys injured.
Those things happen, but still, to only give up 16 touchdowns in 11 games, John, listen, we ain't playing Pee Wee football here, and you're playing a pretty tough schedule. But then when you look at the number that Alabama gives up, that's when it staggers you. That they've only given up 11 touchdowns all year long. That goes to show just how good of a defense they have there. And then again, it led to the hiring of Coach O. And I got to take the professional side out. I was thrilled for it, growing up with him over 40 years. Him and I have a long history together, and man, it was great to see this moment. And you saw the emotion of a head coach that you rarely see, the raw emotion of him talking about getting a job, and then toward the end, him talking about his mom and dad and how he wished his dad was there to see that moment.
Well, anytime you got an opportunity to be a head coach at a university in your home state, is his family right here. I'm just happy for Ed. I don't know him as long as you have. I just known him since his high school days when we played against him, and I've known him through his college, and also had a chance to known Ed all these years. But it's good to know somebody that is getting the good job. And if he's working at Nichols or Northwestern, okay, but he's at LSU, and that's where he wants to be. Give him an opportunity. Let him get his players. Let him get his coaches. And if things go as well as we think they can do, he said, Mike, and you know him. I made mistakes in the past at Ole Miss. I learned from those. I got better at USC. I've gotten better at LSU, and he does. If he can just do the same thing he's done for the interimship he had at LSU and let these guys coach and do this stuff, just be the head coach. And you get in your meetings, that's where you do your coaching. Don't get on the field and do it like you've done in the past. Sit back, relax, and be the head coach. And I think that's going to be a difference.
And let's look where him and I grew up, on the bayou.
On the bayou.
You want to be a micromanager. You think you can do something better than somebody else, but you learn in certain cases you have to delegate authority.
Yes,
and
sir.
he couldn't do that at Ole Miss.
Right.
He learned at USC how to delegate authority. He's done it here. He turned the offense over to Steve Ensminger.
Yep.
Now, I do think come Sunday, Lane Kiffin will either be the in the waitings, or he's basically going to be at LSU, because I think Lane Kiffin is going to coach his last game at Alabama Saturday when he goes up against Florida in the SEC championship game. And we're going to take a look at the standings here in college football. And, boy, I think everybody could figure Alabama into one spot, but that's when it all gets dicey. Right. Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, Washington 4. Now, Clemson and Washington play in championship games. Well, so does Alabama, but I suspect that that won't be much of a contest. And then Michigan at 5. Well, guess what? It's Wisconsin and Penn State that play in the championship game. And then you got Colorado, Oklahoma State. John, that is about as weird as it can get. And I wonder a little bit with the committee that they were not kind of saying a novena that this event would happen, because it's only been 4 teams. If you would want to make an argument from year to year, 8 teams should play for it, this is the year to do it.
And the problem I'm seeing in can the Wisconsin Penn State winner jump
Ohio State?
Ohio State, because I think, Washington will win, and I think Clemson will win. The only way that somebody else can get in that top 4 has to be to replace Ohio State, because of them not being a conference championship. Are they going to let somebody in a conference? Because you got Oklahoma and Oklahoma State sitting way down there as well. I think they're too far down. I think it's going to have to be the Big Ten champion would be jumping somebody. I'm glad I'm not in that room with those 12 guys or 12 ladies and men in that room making the decision, Mike, because I can see what they're saying about not being a conference championship, but then the flip side of it is it the best 4 teams in the country, or do you have to win your championship? They haven't never said it. It has to come to that, but I'm glad I'm sitting here with you, and we're going to be debating on it and talking about it instead of being in that room.
I think college football loves to talk.
Right.
They love the talk of it. But just remember a few years back in the BCS days, LSU and Alabama played in the national championship game.
And you talk about some talking.
And then there was a lot of talk about that. I still don't see how the Big Ten champion does not get in over Ohio State when they don't have the championship game.
Well, let me ask you this then. Why isn't the Big 12 champion better than the Big 10 champion? I mean, Oklahoma showed us they lost early, and they're pretty dominant. So if they win it, why wouldn't they be up there? You got Wisconsin and you got Penn State. I think Oklahoma's probably better than those 2 teams.
I think they will. The only thing is they don't have a championship game.
Right. That's the only problem.
That's the other
that
part
extra
held
game
against
comes
them.
into play.
That's why, man, you know
play
what?
it.
The Big 12's got to figure out a way to throw this into a situation where you got a championship game, you play, and now you can't have somebody hold that against you.
Right.
When you're going up in that committee situation.
That's the issue.
But I do suspect that there will be a lot of talk about expanding this from 4 to 8, and we all know money talks, and it's all about network money.
Well, this season right here is probably the season that's going to get them to start talking much more about it, because it has to be. There's too many teams. There's 8 teams that could be playing for a championship.
Other thing too is NFL Europe, which was a disaster, looks to be that the NFL may be thinking about putting a developmental league right here in the States. And I think it's a great idea by the NFL.
I do.
It should have long been in place. If you think it shouldn't, just look where Kurt Warner, Jake Delhomme, Adam Vinatieri, Ryan Clark all got their spot. NFL Europe. We'll be back with more of the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford.